our first episode of Equity and Inclusion. My name is David Mullings. I am the founder, chairman, and CEO of Blue Capital Partners. And this is going to be the first of many discussions about funding Black founders and what we believe can be done to reduce the racial wealth gap here in the United States and elsewhere. Before I bring on Renee King, who is a founder and CEO of FundBLACKFounders.com, I want to just go through some stats for you to show why this is something that we believe is important. And so let me bring here, and I think it's important for somebody like Renee King to come and share her views. So I'm going to bring Renee in now. Renee, thank you so much for making time on your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you so much. Let me just, okay, echoing has stopped, so that's good. Are you hearing me, David?
I am hearing you perfect, Renee. So I think we're great. We're streaming on Instagram and then we're streaming everywhere. So thank you to everyone joining from Facebook, from Twitter. We have a bunch of people, obviously, YouTube, LinkedIn, everywhere. And this is a topic that I feel is important to me, but I think is even more important to you.
Extremely important, of course. So yes, it's my birthday. That's one. So thank you. And of course, this topic is so important. That's why I'm on this call on my birthday, because the work doesn't stop. And until we fix things completely, we all got to work on birthdays too.
We have to, yeah. You can't let the fun part stop because business is happening. You actually should do both, right?
Exactly. Have fun and do it. So what do you want to talk about?
Well, the first thing I want to talk about is a little bit of your background and what caused you to actually want to found Fund Black Founders and build this platform.
So there's a couple things. I'm just going to go through one big thing that really, I guess, kind of like was the catalyst, or however you say it, that really started this. This is not my first startup. By the way, my first startup was a tech platform to help you find technology to take care of your elderly parents. That was my first startup. And during that startup, I remember being at a conference for, I think it was Black Founders or Black Women in Tech, something like that. It was one of those conferences or events. And I remember an investor was on the stage talking about, fundraising and things of that sort. And one of the comments the investor said, because I think someone asked a question about like their challenge with raising a friends and family round. And one of the comments that investor said back to the group of all folks who look like me and you said, if you can't raise a friends and family round, what does that say about you? And I was so, I was appalled by that comment. Right? Because when you look at the data, hold on, let's check on this echo.
All right. Well, so you're bringing up data. So since you touched on that, I will read some data for our listeners and viewers here, because, Kaufman.org recently posted a really interesting article. And it said that while at least 77% of venture capital is invested in white men, only 1% of venture-backed founders are Black. However, data has shown that for most asset classes, firms managed by people of color exhibit returns that are not significantly different than those of white managed firms. So I understand what you're saying, because if you don't have friends and family who have been able to generate wealth, then you're going to have a problem, right? I wanted to comment on the second one. They said because Black people and people of color are more broadly have suffered decades of systematic discrimination, they have less wealth compared to their white peers. This leads to a friends and family gap in funding, which is what he just said. While many white entrepreneurs can rely on their own networks for seed funding and funding to scale, Black entrepreneurs are unable to do so, and therefore a vicious cycle. In a vicious cycle, they also have less collateral to use as a loan. So you're not getting equity funding, and you also can't even go out and get conventional loan financing. So you've seen that happen personally. You experienced that pain point personally.
I experienced it personally. I've seen lots of other Black founders and underrepresented founders going through the same exact struggle. And it just makes sense, right? Because like the reality of a friends and family round, it's not about your idea. It's not about the things that they kind of tell you that it's supposedly about. Like if you have a good startup, you're definitely going to get this. Or if this is a market that's going to make tons of money, you're definitely going to get that friends and family. That friends and family round is a relationship round. I don't care what anyone tells you. It is a relationship round. Any friends and family money that you see has come in, it is from relationships with people who have money to invest in your business. So as a Black founder, your propensity to access to that money is limited because of systemic issues that we've had to deal with, right? So it's limited. And it's not to say that you can't access it. It's just going to be more challenging for you to access it. And the amount that you're going to access, because there are data points that show that the average like Black founder friends and family round that we do raise is around 23 to 25K versus our white counterparts are raising over 100K at that initial stage. So there's a huge gap. And that's what we are here to address. That's what started, or that's what was the foundation to why FundBLACKFounders came about, or why I started FundBLACKFounders, because I want to fix that. I think every Black founder should have access to a friends and family round, and we're going to figure it out. It's a new type of friends and family round. We're not the traditional one where you have to have a rich uncle or a rich auntie who can write you that check and you can sleep on their couch all through you building. It's not that. We're building it a different way.
So if somebody was to ask you in an elevator, what is fundblackfounders.com, how would you answer that?
It depends on the day. It depends on the day.
I love the honesty.
So, okay, it depends on the day. But today I'll tell you, we are the new friends and family round for Black entrepreneurs. And we help you raise the start capital that you need to start your business. We do that through crowdfunding. Rewards crowdfunding is our main thing that we help you to crowdfund the money that you need. And then also pretty soon we're going to offer follow-on funding or match funding to what you do crowdfund on our platform. So we're a full funding ecosystem. So don't just think just rewards crowdfunding. We're more than that. We're connecting you with additional capital, social capital, additional financial capital. We're just really focused on like all those barriers that you may encounter when you're trying to do that friends and family round. We're fixing it for us and by us.
All right, so I think that's a fairly good answer, a concise answer for what you do. The new version of friends and family for Black founders, starting in the US. You never know where things can go. Obviously, I now sit on your board as a director, and we've spent more than 6 months already meeting every week, going through your plan, refining a business model. And one of the most important things that I feel that you've brought to the table was this whole phrase that you put me onto, that Black founders tend to be over-mentored and underfunded. So you're helping the funding part, and you've actually had traction. This is not a pure idea of sitting on a napkin. You've actually had traction and helped some companies to get funding so far. So tell us some of those success stories.
So I can't take credit for that quote. I think it's, I can't remember who, I'll try to tag it, who said that quote as for like Black founders are over-mentored and underfunded. But yes, whenever I walk into spaces where they're talking about how do we fix or how do we support Black entrepreneurs, we are that voice who's in there like, okay, stop with the mentoring, stop with the programs, we get it. Where's the money? Like we're definitely people who are in there. Where's the money? Show me the money.
Show me the money.
We are totally those that voice in the room. Founders, we've helped over 17 founders so far crowdfund the start capital they need, and they've crowdfunded over 180,000 in capital to fund their businesses. We've had over 2,000 supporters or users of our platform, so they've come on and supported these founders. And the different capacities or the different businesses, it's been a range. We've had like brick and mortar businesses, we've had tech businesses, we've had beauty businesses, we've had even a biotech business. So all of our businesses, we have a good variety, and we've been supporting them from start to finish.
So I see we get to a nice point there. So Mixed Rose is a group you guys are going to be hearing about a lot. I'll be interviewing them soon. I've enjoyed speaking with them.
The mother-daughter duo, I love them.
Amazing mother-daughter tech founder duo here in the Southeast USA. And she's saying, Black female tech business, so just like you. And we were able to raise $200,000 from friends and family back in 2015. And it was based on long-term relationships, exactly what you spoke about, Renee. So you pointed out about, over-mentored, underfunded, and then I want to then flip the coin on that. I'm an asset manager, a Black asset manager, so I'm in the 1% range as well. 1% of assets are managed by people of color. So I'm in that same group, like how you fall in that group of less than 1.3% of venture capital goes to people of color. But I would then say, okay, I can't just write you a check though. There has to be some additional mentorship that's going to come with that, as well as giving you access to my network. And so we spent all of May doing 3 times a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays. I mainly did Tuesday, Thursday, where we did, essentially it was training. We did a sequence of workshops for founders on there. And so FundBLACKFounders isn't merely the platform to raise money, but you actually provide resource help for these companies, correct?
Yeah, we're very nurturing, right? So we nurture you from figuring out your pitch, from figuring out how to talk to this investor or that investor, from figuring out what grants or so you should apply for. It's extremely nurturing around the fact that we just want you to get the most funding possible at this early stage, so that you can have the flexibility to figure out things, to find your product market fit, to figure these things out and not feel so like, I have to like make every single dollar stretch to this certain point, and I can't take that big risk that you need to take in order to like jump to the next level with your business. So we are very nurturing. If I could tell you like a whole list of what we do, it's very like, I think we're still echoing. So I apologize on this end.
On the Instagram side, we're echoing, but don't worry, they will watch the YouTube version.
Okay. So if I gave you a complete list of all we did, that list would change. It all depends on the founder. But roughly everything that we do touches around getting you the most funding that you need and making sure that you're using that funding very well. So that's what I would say around that.
Okay. And so where do you see yourself in 12 months with FundBLACKFounders if all things went according to the plan that you've laid out?
Well, the next thing that we are aggressively working on is that for the next round of founders that we bring on the platform, we want to match a certain amount of what you raise on the platform, right? Because we're very focused on increasing the amount of capital you get, especially at the early stages. And just to understand why it's so important at the early stages, right? Like there's a data point that's floating around that Black entrepreneurs, to start the same business as our white counterparts, we're spending over $230,000 more to start it, right? So we're already underfunded, and then we're spending more to get these businesses off the ground. So what we're aggressively working on with partners that we're bringing on is to figure out a way that we can match what you raise on our platform. So in 12 months time, that's where we're hoping that we're going to be able to do that with everyone on our platform.
All right. So I love that you bring that up. I'm putting up your email address, info@fundblackfounders.com, because I wanted to tell people, the audience, how can they help you today to achieve that goal over the next 12 months?
Well, if you currently are working at an organization like one of the Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 organizations, and you are looking to get access to our demographic and you want to support the Black entrepreneurs, you want to support our community, you should reach out, because we can definitely use your support in helping our founders. If you are at a bank, we're talking to a few of them. You should totally reach out. This is not going to be a one type of partnership. This is going to be multiple, like all hands on deck will be needed for this. And then even if you're not at these organizations, everyone watching this or anyone who believes that it is time that we change what the system looks like and we be more equitable and supportive of our entrepreneurs, you can just commit that each month you're going to contribute to one of the campaigns that you find on our platform. There was a quote by Dawn Dixon of Popcom, and she's like currently doing her equity crowdfund right now. Great, like this Black woman who has broken so many records in crowdfunding, right? And one of her quotes is that we're the new friends and family. Like crowdfunding is the new friends and family. So all of us now, we are each other's friends and family. We do not have to wait for that one rich uncle or rich aunt or Oprah or whoever it is to give you that check. We all as a collective can like put in little bits to get our innovations off the ground. So if you're watching this, share this with folks and just commit that each month you're going to go on our site and contribute to any campaign that you see on there of choice.
I love that. So it's a form of tithing that we tend to be used to in the Black community, but focus on actually creating wealth and reducing that racial wealth gap here. So, and
I think the thing that, it's going to reduce the racial wealth gap. But when you really think about it, there is, think about like all of what we've gone through during 2020, which kind of was like a heightened reaction to everything that has been going on, right? Yep. It's just that doing this will support your community, right? When you support, I'm thinking about it specifically. So if you help these innovations come to life, where are they going to be? They're going to be in your community. So maybe you're in a food desert. Maybe you're in you're tired of going to the same bank that doesn't have options for you. So there are products that are coming out there. There are Black innovators out there trying to put through stuff for us to help us. You have to support them because then they just support you back. They're going to hire you. They're going to hire, it all cycles back, right? It's going to make our communities better. So we really have to think about it that way and make a conscious decision of that. I am going to, make that sacrifice or make that change in my behavior to start putting my money towards where it's going to be more beneficial, not just like instant gratification right now, but beneficial for you, beneficial for your kids, beneficial for the generations to come, right? So we have to start thinking like that. That's what this does. So it's not just like, yes, we want to close that racial wealth gap, but sometimes I think when we say that, people don't really get what that really means. That means the difference is, right, in your community now, you don't have to leave. And I definitely am one of those. I remember doing this like with my mom. Like I never went to school right in my community, right? Because it wasn't the best school, right? It didn't have all the resources. They were underfunded. So my mom was the one carrying me 20, 30, 40 minutes away to another school. And that's not okay. Right? That's the point. So we have to invest in ourselves so that we can put and build in our community. So I should be able to walk to a well-funded school. I should be able to walk to a grocery store that has like organic produce that I should be able to get. And I should be able to go to a bank that gets me, right? And is giving loan products to me. And where that comes from is that we have to move those dollars that we're currently using, which we have. They're tracking our dollars. Like just understand like our spending power. Yes. It's phenomenal. Like Nielsen just released a report about our spending power. Do not knock the power of our dollars. Like we move culture, we move whatever works. Like when we're involved, things fly. So we have to like harness that power and like crowdfunding and coming to our platform to see the emerging founders or the founders who are here building stuff that's going to be a better fit for you. Come on here and support them so they can get it out here because it's just going to make all of us better.
No, I love that you said that because I got goosebumps when you talked about the generational wealth creation part because that's what I talk about as well. And I'm glad that you put it in those words because we're so used to hearing the negative feedback loop story about white flight and in food deserts and gentrification, all these things versus not focusing on the positive feedback loop of supporting a business founded by someone who looks like us, understands our lived experience, and is going to build products or services that are more in tune with what we expect, what we look for. And then it's going to cycle back, as you said, that multiplication and multiply effect is important. So I love that you bring it. I just get goosebumps again thinking about generational wealth creation. I can't help it. So there's another statistic here that I wanted to bring up, because obviously with Blumenau Capital, we're investing in private and public companies, and we're working closely with you. Our team is providing some resources as well. And I've had a number of people ask me when I was sitting on panels at Family Office Association events, if this is a charity, or are we going to have a charity for it? Do they get a tax deduction? And I had to explain to them that actually it is better to invest in companies founded by women, by people of color. And recently there's an article, I'm going to quote it. It says, what's more, despite being outperformed in fundraising, women-founded businesses outperform their male counterparts in ROI, right, return on investment, 78 cents to 31 cents per dollar invested, according to a study by the Boston Consulting Group. So it's actually better for your returns in your portfolio to invest in women founders. And for some reason, that is not being promoted enough, or the traditional fund managers have been ignoring that. How do we get that to change? What ideas do you have as someone who is not in the fund manager world like I am?
I mean, it's just overwhelming people with the data, right? That's what it is. We're going to have to overwhelm lots of folks with the actual hard data, so you can see and know the people like the Jewel Burks, who clearly sold her business to Amazon, right? Was making tons of money off of that, and has now gone on to do this. There's tons of these businesses that we need to show, like, here is the data. This is where it's going. And then also thinking about showing the data of where the world is going, right? The world is turning to a more multicultural, diverse market. So you not coming in, or you ignoring that market, ignoring the fact of that women of color or people of color have their finger on the pulse of what that market is going to want, you ignoring that, you're going to lose market share, plain and simple. So you have to present that data also. Like, this is where we see the census data shows by 2050, like the majority is going to be POCs. Right. It's going to be Latinx. It's going to be Black people. It's going to be, this is where it is. So if you're not building and like engaging with that market, right, and growing with them authentically, because that's the other thing. They know when you're not authentic.
Oh, yes.
We know, and it comes out. Everything still ends up coming out. So if you're not building with them and building a relationship with them authentically from now, you're going to lose market share, plain and simple. So that's the thing. We just have to show that data and just show, like, here is proof of what happens when you do not build things that are authentic for this market. You will fail.
I feel like you've been attending some of the conferences I've been going to over the last 2 years, where not only do they point out the whole majority-minority stats coming up 2030 and 2050 here in the US, but they point out that the engine of growth for the last 20 years globally has been emerging markets, with obviously Africa is going to be the next big engine of growth, as we're going to have more people in this world. So if you are investing in people of color, companies founded by people of color here in the US, it means you're going to at least be better positioned to sell into the African market, which is going to be the next boom, right? Are
you talking about our plan? Is that?
Hey, I want people to know that we got a smartphone and CEO here who is thinking long term, not just next week or next quarter, but is really thinking about the next decade and then the next generation. So let me open up to any questions or comments. We've been getting some comments. Anybody on Instagram, anybody else on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, feel free to send a question or a comment. Here's one popping up now. Look at this. Renee, thank you for emphasizing the importance of authenticity in supporting communities of color. Repeat that one again about why authenticity is so important, Renee.
And authenticity, okay. Case in point, there was an example of, we saw that there was a grant that came out, right? With all the Black Lives Matter movement and them recognizing like the lack of funding going to Black entrepreneurs. There was a grant that came out specifically for Black women, right? But the metrics for you to get it, or the PPP is another example, right? The metrics to get the grant, you had to be making, I think your average revenue coming in for the year needed to be above 50, 70, 80K or something like that, right? which we see in the data, the average revenue for Black women business is nowhere close to that right now because they're under-resourced. So this is what I'm talking about being authentic, right? It's not just that, okay, you're going to reach out and say we support Black Lives Matter, put up a Black thing, and then reach out and say, come talk to me, I want to mentor you. No, it's also like having people internal who look like us and understand what we're going through so that we're building stuff that makes sense, right? So that we're not being excluded in every step of the way. Similar to how the PPP loan, we were excluded from that because the metrics and the qualifiers for that did not match our businesses. And that doesn't mean our businesses don't deserve that. That's the other part that we have to understand. It's not that, it's the fact that what we're able to do being so severely under-resourced is incredible. We are the better bet when you really think about that. We make like from pennies, we make dollars.
Well, you are of Jamaican heritage, so we say ton hand make fashion. We can stretch dollars, right?
Like we use capital in a way that it's like versus other founders, you need to continuously throw capital, and they're still not producing. So it's
we could just I need to mention it. Nobody going to forgive me if I don't mention Quibi. If you're going to be talking about throwing capital at things, right? And Quibi is the one that is the perfect example of how many other under-resourced founders could have benefited from that. I do want to give the caveat that they were successful in the past. That's why they had the networks and are able to do it. But that's ridiculous that they were able to raise that much money to burn through it and get here. But let's ask. So Gene has a question. He's in Trinidad. So big up, John. What is the investment mix you would like to see in your portfolio? I don't know if that's a question for me or for you because
I think it's for you.
Yeah, well, John, my mix, I want 20% startups. Let's put it that way. That's what I want. We are primarily focused on profitable existing business in both the private and public space. But this is Renee's show today. So let's.
And the mix in my portfolio, the prerequisite is you just have to be Black.
You just have to. Somebody actually on Instagram asked, "What is basically the first point which you decide to help a founder? Meaning any particular qualities or skills." So number one, you're looking to support Black founders, and then is there anything else that you are looking for you to choose to support them? For them to apply, because they go through a process. You don't just apply and then show up on the website. They actually go through a screening process with you, correct?
So our process doesn't say no to anyone, to be completely transparent with you. We say not yet, okay? We say not yet, and we say this is the stuff that we want you to prepare before you get into the start of this process, right? And that's based on what we've experienced with successful and unsuccessful founders, what we've seen on the market and things of that sort. So it's never a no. We're not a no platform. We are not yet. And we want you to go work on building this first. We want you to go work on building this first, things of that sort. And then when you pass those metrics, then we're ready to go because we know that you're going to be in a better place to be pushed forward.
All right. Love that. So last question. We got 2 minutes to go on this show. So are there any priority sectors you hope to focus on when you will later focus on investing in Africa?
That's a very interesting question. So I don't know. It depends on, right now we're agnostic, right? We're industry agnostic because we want to see what comes to us, right? We want to see what our entrepreneurs need. We are going to start looking at a little bit more stuff we can do for brick and mortar, just a little bit more so we can reach out to them because we are getting heavy on the side of tech, which is not a bad thing. We just want to reach out to some of our brick and mortar businesses, tech enable them and get them on the platform too. Africa is coming.
Right.
Africa is.
You need to get your traction in the US first, get your scale up, and then you can expand beyond that. But right now,
the US is priority, specific demos in the US, but priority is US, and then Africa, it's coming.
All right. So we're going to close it out, and it is your birthday. So what are you planning to do for your birthday, Renee?
I think I'm going to dinner. My birthday started yesterday in a way. My cousins surprise. Yes, to the Caribbean too, of course.
Right. Well, we're going to let it close with that since I dropped the hint already. Fine. Since they brought it up on Instagram, they're saying and Caribbean too. Of course, yes. She's going to start with US, Canada, Caribbean.
Yeah.
And white. I mean, obviously, I can't get away from it. You're Jamaican like me. So you know,
I am Jamaican, yes.
and so you're Jamaican. You know what I didn't point out to everybody? Where are you based, Renee?
Right now, where am I based? I'm based in New York.
I know.
I'm based in New York. Specifically, I am in Mount Vernon, New York right now. So New York, and if you know money earning Mount Vernon, it's very big, heavy. All these folks come from here. Anyway.
So I'm just saying he likes a not yet frame of mind. So I really appreciate it. It's something that guys, you know, as someone who has got to sit with Renee every single week for more than 6 months now, it was fascinating to me to see her say that we don't want to keep saying no to people. Too many companies just get a no. And she say, you know what, we're going to say not yet. And then give you information on how to get better prepared to then get on the platform. So it's
because I am my customer. I've been there. Do you know how many no's? And it's different from, yeah, we know as an entrepreneur, you're going to get no's. But as a Black founder, you know how many no's you're getting on stuff that you're sitting here like applying for. And you're just like, why?
Yeah. Why? If they tell me no, just give me some information on what I could do and learn from that, right? A no by itself is not bad. A no information is actually really, really good because then you can keep getting better. So I love that. Well, all right. Anything else? What do you want to close up before we turn this one off?
I'm going out, hopefully, for my birthday.
Please be careful.
Say it again?
Please be careful. Wear your mask.
I'm going to wear my mask. I'm going to social distance. That's about it, I think.
Right.
I mean, let's see. Definitely support us. We 100% need your support. Which advice, wait, there's one question. Which advice will give to build a multilingual big community into the Caribbean? This is my point of two faces. This sounds like a David question because this is what he does with the multi.
I'm going to answer that question. I won't close Instagram. I'll answer that question on Instagram afterwards. Let me. So we have info@fundblackfounders.com is how everybody can reach out to you. You are in New York. That is your home base at this point in time and expanding. People can support you by just coming to the website every month and committing to fund some of these Black-owned businesses that have been vetted and listed on the website, right? Mm-hmm. And then, well, before we close, the last thing I want to have you say, and how did we actually get connected since we talk about access and network and friends?
So thank you. Right. So had that point. So this is the thing that one thing I would like to say, like there's a difference between like financial capital and social capital. Okay. And social capital, Google it if you don't know what it is. It's networking and it's in essence, it's like your network is your net worth. That's social capital. Okay. And I met David by way of another David in my life, one of my best friends who I hold dear to my heart, who started out as my mentor. I worked for him and he was my mentor. And we just kept in contact throughout this entire time, worked on different projects. And then he knew about what I was doing with FundBLACKFounders, knows David Mullings, right? And then connected us. And that's how this whole now exchange of social capital has taken place, where I've had David has been a great, this Mullings right here has been such a wonderful resource, right? For my journey, for our journey with FundBLACKFounders and helping us get it from the starting point up to where it is right now and further where it's gonna go. And I think that this is really important because in our community, not every Black entrepreneur has access to this level of advisory, mentorship, and support. And I want to encourage, like, I want to encourage all Black entrepreneurs to step outside of your comfort zone and seek this, right? Even if like you've experienced where you've asked for help and people have said no, ask somebody else. If you like keep connecting with a ton of different folks, they don't have to look like you, maybe they can, but look for there is that person that you can like really rely on to help guide your journey, who's been further along than you, because the invaluable lessons you're going to learn by way of them, right? Because they've been there, done that, and they can guide you where you are. It's going to save you a lot. It's going to save you a lot of time. It's going to save you. And this is how the other folks do it, FYI. Yeah. They do not, the things that you think that they're over here, they are not doing it alone. They're asking 20, 30 people to help them to do the things that you're doing all by yourself. So just know this is important. Like, build an advisory board. This is what your advisors do. This is why Mr. Mullings is on the board. Okay. Like, he is on the board for a reason. Like, build these folks out and start like you know, reaching out to them and also give to them too. Like, don't think that it's just a take. So please, like, I didn't learn that until being in it, but take advantage of that and try your best to like find strong people that you can put on, that you can really count on to mentor you and guide you.
No, I appreciate that. So I'll shout out David Squeeze Anarchy as well for doing that, because David picked up the phone and called me. He didn't text me. He called me and said, hey, David, I'm going to introduce you to Renee King. She's brilliant. She has this platform. You are the tech guy. You know this stuff. This is your world. You have to help her. That was it. I didn't have a choice. He said, you have to help her. And when David took that time to tell me, it meant so much to me that he said that, because I know him, I trust him. He's done really well in business. So guys, if you know somebody, an entrepreneur who you think is doing well and you have that connection, open the door. That's what I'm going to say. Open the door and make that introduction.
Yes. No more gatekeeping. Open the door.
and don't ask for something in return for opening the door, other than say, I just want to be there to cheerlead for you. This is not about, I will make an intro if you give me 2% of the company or something. No. Open the door. Mm-hmm. That's it. It will come back to you in spades. I promise you.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Right. Renee, I'm going to let you go. I know you have an important call coming up with another one of your advisors who I put you in touch with. So I'm going to let you get everything together. But this was awesome. We learned some, really interesting data points from you. We're excited to be supporting you from the Blue Mohawk Capital side, and me personally. Please enjoy your birthday very safely.
Of course.
All right. I love it. All right, Renee. Later.